Hey everybody, back with another Android TV box review. This is the H96 Pro from Mifanstech. It has the S912 Logic system on a chip, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage, and the Mali T820 graphics processor. Well, these boxes keep getting fancier and fancier. Used to be plain cardboard boxes. Now you get this black and gold theme. Take the top off the box, see what's in here. First thing you see is the box itself in a plastic sleeve for protection. Slide it out of there, and you'll see you get the 4K logo, the H96. This box again is from Mifanstech. I want to thank them for providing this box for review. On the left side of the box you have 2 USB ports. On the front there's an infrared receiver. You can't see it, but this ring that runs around the outside of the box is an LED. It's blue when the box is on, it's red when the box is off. On the right hand side of the box you've got 2 more USB ports and a micro SD card slot. On the back of the box you've got your gigabit Ethernet, your SPDIF or optical, your HDMI, it's an AV in or an AV out rather, and the power supply goes in there. The box itself is a nice looking piece. Like I said, there's an LED that goes around the outside when it's on. It comes covered in this peel away sheet to protect the surface. The surface is a fingerprint magnet, but it's nice and shiny. It's a pretty box, and you're not going to be touching it. But basically, you're going to put it on a shelf, and it's going to sit there. Let's lay the box there. We'll see what else is in the box. You got your basic power supply that comes with all these boxes. This is a US plug. Make sure you get the one for your region. You get the basic infrared remote that comes with most of these boxes. Some of them are slightly different, but most of them are this remote. It's functional. It does what it's supposed to. It's got a mouse cursor function that lets you use the D-pad to navigate the mouse cursor around the screen. You're better off with an Air mouse or a USB mouse, just for a better experience with these boxes. They think they're tablets basically, so there's a touch interface with a lot of the apps you download from the App Store. So you're going to want a mouse or an Air mouse or one of those wireless keyboard mouse combinations for a better experience. This thing takes 2 AAA batteries, and with all these boxes, as with all these boxes, they're not included. It also comes with a USB cable. A short USB cable, but like I say, they're always nice to have. You can never have too many USB cables sitting in a drawer. And a little user manual, which is in English and has a few pictures. If you've never set one of these boxes up before, it might help you, but you likely know more than that will ever tell you. Okay, let's hook this up to the TV, take a look and see how it performs, and I'll see you in just a second. Okay, and here we are. This is the launcher you get when you boot up. It's a little nicer than the launchers you used to see with the 5.1 boxes, the lollipop boxes. It's a little more functional, a little cleaner, a little more professional looking. But it's still your basic launcher. You can of course put any launcher on that you want. You can put Nova Launcher or any launcher that you like from the Play Store. The larger buttons are set up for what you're going to use most: Kodi, of course, YouTube, and then the Google Play Store, which I've tested and works perfectly. The rest of these are basically just folders. They're just, except for this one, which is the file browser, the file manager. You can put ES File Explorer on this if you like. This one's functional. I like ES File Explorer. The rest of them are just folders where you can add different apps, the different folders for different categories: games, video, music, and so forth. There's a browser. It's the standard Google browser. You can put Chrome on this, which I would certainly recommend. You have an apps drawer, of course, which shows all your apps. A lot of these I added, the benchmark apps I've added. Kodi came pre-installed. and Netflix came pre-installed, the Play Store did, and of course your settings app. Now we can go to the settings. It's your standard Marshmallow settings. You'll see it on all these boxes. Um, you can set your network up. Mine is set up wirelessly right now. I've also run this on Ethernet. It's fast either way. You can set your display in terms of resolution. Mine is at 1080p 60 Hertz, which is the maximum output for the set. This will also go as far as 4K, of course. You can position your screen larger and smaller if the overscan's not right for you. I actually had to drop this down to 80% for this particular screen because the overscan was so large. On my larger television, it's perfect at 100%. And of course, there's Daydream and HDR settings if your TV will support HDR, which is a new color protocol. Your preferences apps, if you go to more settings, it'll bring you to the standard Marshmallow settings, which is where I hooked up the game controller that I'm currently using to control this with Bluetooth. Let's take a look at Kodi so you can see how this works with video. This is the Spins TV Premium Lite build, which is my favorite build. It's not the build that comes with the box. The box does come with Kodi pre-installed and with add-ons pre-installed if you don't want to use this build, but there are tons of videos on YouTube show you how to install this. It's my favorite, but everybody's preferences are different. Take a quick look at Exodus, see if we can bring a movie up as quickly as possible to give you an idea of what it looks like. Now you're looking, of course, at my television through a camera, so you're not exactly going to see the sort of resolution that you'll get, but you can get some idea of the responsiveness of the box and how video runs in terms of how smooth it is and frame rate and things like that. It should just take a second for Exodus to bring up the last source. That's set on Exodus, I believe, is set on a 30-second timeout, so we're going to be tapping our feet for about 15 seconds here until this brings up the last source, and we can take a quick look at a couple of seconds of Captain America Civil War. You don't want to spend too much time on any one video to run it. We'll run into copyright problems, but it should bring up a bunch of sources here. See if we can bring up a high definition source and see what we get. Try to fast forward through this if we can. This is a 720 source. And see if we can bring it forward a bit. As you can see, the box jumps right up, and there's no buffering, there's no stuttering. This is a really nice 720 stream. Colors are good, and that should be enough of that for now. We don't want to get into any trouble here. And that's basically how Kodi works on the box. You have YouTube will run up to 1080p. This is the YouTube app that is updated when you bring the box up. As soon as you boot the box, it's going to prompt you to update YouTube, which you should definitely do. And I'm now using an air mouse to give you an idea of what you can. That happens on some of these boxes sometimes, but it actually runs just fine. And you can see that YouTube runs just fine. We'll take a look at gaming. We'll use Riptide GP Renegade, and we'll be back with that in just a second. Okay, here's Riptide GP Renegade. Rather graphically intensive game. You've got a lot of options for graphic settings here. Now I have it set at high with detailed shaders and high details. As you can see, that's how the game auto detects this particular box. You're really not going to run this at ultra unless you're running a super expensive box like an NVIDIA Shield or something like that. This is about as good as it's going to get. But it's extremely detailed. It's got all the effects on, and it runs smooth. We're going to take a look real quick at me playing this game, if I can navigate through the menus. Here we go. And we'll just go ahead and run the first race, and I'll show you basically how this works. I'm using a GameSir G3 Bluetooth controller, which I hooked up, as I said, through the Marshmallow menu in the settings. Alright, let's just go ahead and start this race. I'll show you how quickly this loads. The 912 is a pretty snappy processor. The addition of the T820 graphics processor makes a big difference from the older Mali 450 that were in the 905 and 905X boxes. I have the sound turned off, of course, just so that it won't interfere with the video. But as you can see, a great frame rate, very detailed water effects, splashing the screen and so forth. The game controller through Bluetooth is working without lag. That's just me being terrible at the game. It's not the controller itself. Actually, this is a really nice looking game, even at this setting. I wonder what it looks like at Ultra, but it's not the sort of thing you want to run that high on. Even on a 912 box is going to affect frame rate. Okay, let's head back to the home menu, and I'll show you real quick some benchmarks that I ran on the box a little bit earlier. I took screenshots of them, so we should be able to bring those up. This is the speed test through Wi-Fi. With Ethernet, of course, you're going to max out your settings. I mean, this thing's got a gigabit Ethernet connection, and it uses every bit of it, so you should have no problem if you got it plugged into the wall streaming anything. But even on Wi-Fi, and I'm about I guess 30 feet from the router, this is running at 27 down, 36 up, which is going to be plenty to run anything, even 4K. This is with running Ice Storm Extreme through 3D Mark. 5930, not the highest score I've seen. The highest score I've seen is so far is the MXQ Plus, which benchmarked it over 6200. But this is still about 25-30% faster than your 905X boxes. The Geekbench results are 454 single core and 2197 multi-score. The single core score obviously is going to be lower than your quad core processors. They usually clock at about 612, 615, but the reason for that is because you're running an octa-core processor here, and your overall score for speed is 2197, which is about, again, 30% faster than your 905, 905X. The Antutu benchmark is 36047, which again is not the highest I've seen. The MXQ Plus again uses a standard benchmarked at over 42,000, which is not to say that this box is bad in real world performance, but it's not the fastest box that I've used. One of the advantages of this box is that you can bring up the navigation menu here, which also gives you a notification bar at the top. You can of course drop that down, make it disappear if you like, but it's real convenient to have for things like multitasking. Alright, back to the home menu. So just to wrap this video up, this is a fast box, not the fastest I've ever run. It has some advantages over the MXQ Plus, which I'm using as a benchmark at this point. It doesn't benchmark the way that one does, but it has some advantages in that it has a navigation bar, which gives you a notification bar at the top. Some people like that. Other than that, it's not quite up to what that box, which is basically an M12N, branded by Mifanstech as an MXQ Plus. It's not. This box isn't quite up to the standards of that box or any M12N, but you know, for the money, it's not a terrible box. It prices a little bit higher than the MXQ Plus. My recommendation at this point would be to stick with an MXQ Plus or some variation of the M12N at this point. If you're somebody who's a stickler for the navigation bar for multitasking, then this box is a fine choice. But other than that, it's, you know, these 912 boxes are benching pretty close together. But at this point, it's still, the MXQ Plus is still the one to beat in my opinion. So thanks guys, and we'll see you on the next one.